there is no specific reason why we have last in and first out. Probably my comment is that first in, first out is, I think, the best model, especially if you have competing business, competing for time. In this particular case, we have a bit of time. I'm sure that within 45 days, all the bills will be out of this committee. So just out of discretion, I decided that we start with this one, which in my view is small. It's a small bill that we can handle in 2-3 days. And then we can go to the other bills which are elaborate and have a lot of issues. So we are going to be handling this bill first. The clerk has drawn up a program that was distributed, and we'll try to follow that program and then get back to our oversight later in the month or early next month. Honorable members, I wish to request you that tomorrow, not tomorrow, but Friday, we will have some meetings. I request that you reserve some time. We will make them very short, such that you can be able to go to your constituencies on Friday. Caucus Friday. Very, very good information you have given. We'll see how to adjust. Thank you for that information. Thank you for that information. Now, on the Attorney General who was supposed to come today, he has responded in writing, requesting that we reschedule him to next week. He says he's extremely busy on the national issues, which had already been scheduled up to Friday. And then the deputy is also equally engaged on already prior scheduled issues, also up to Friday. So he is requesting that we schedule him next week. I think that is okay. We shall put him, I think, on Tuesday, and we shall proceed with the other witnesses, because there is no requirement that we must listen to him before we entertain other witnesses. With those few remarks, I wish to thank you once again for coming. I wish to thank you for your commitment to the work of the committee. And I welcome the witnesses once again, the move of the motion. And thank you very much. That's the end of my communication. I invite any reactions to my communication.
Ways first. As you rightly mentioned, I was concerned yesterday on the forum on how quick this particular amendment has found its way ahead of the many other bills that we have in this committee. But of particular interest is that we have a constitutional amendment bill before this committee, and in some literature there has been an interpretation that when the constitution is due for amendment, actually the entire constitution can be amended. Once any article of the constitution comes to parliament, it is possible to amend the entire constitution. And my issue was, this particular bill is about the leader of the opposition that is provided for under Article 82A of the Constitution. So wouldn't it have been proper that we deal with the constitutional amendment, which may, from the different proposals, also touch on Article 82A, rather than fast-tracking the Administration of Parliament Act? That was the angle I was looking at. But also, when you have matters before you, the Constitution takes precedent. Sure, that is my view. So why would we be rushing? The other one that I didn't raise was that it has been a practice, I'm new to this committee, that before a program like this is drawn, an in-house meeting is called so that the members would have their input. And I was surprised that in this committee I just saw this draft, not even a draft now, a full program that has been issued out without taking into consideration the input of the members of parliament of this committee. Those are the two matters that I would like to bring to your attention.
Now, the work plan. The work plan covers the entire year, and that's the one which I think we have an obligation to consult members. And once there is concurrence on the general principles in the work plan, the rest then becomes mostly the work of the clerk. The clerk can consult the chair, which he has done duly, and I've also discussed with my deputy. So there is no problem here. There is absolutely no problem. We discussed a work plan which was duly approved by the committee. These others keep changing. Now even that one could change. Like it has already changed. That one January is not coming, so it will change. Friday has already changed. We had scheduled meetings for Friday. Now we have caucus. So you can't keep calling members to discuss those minor details. Then the issue of Article 82A. No, there is this bill. My understanding is that yes, when there is an opportunity to amend the Constitution, then you have an opportunity also to look at the other articles of the Constitution. But in this particular case, Article 82 provides for leader of the opposition, but also gives leeway to Parliament to decide the mode of getting a leader of the opposition. So I don't think there is any need that we need to touch the Constitution. Either the requirement would be that now we want to either to remove the leader of the opposition or to change the nomenclature to a minority leader, which I don't think is the case in this matter. But also, we are free and at liberty to discuss this matter when the comprehensive constitutional amendments come, which again I think will not come during this period of RAPEX, the RAPEX bill. It is a bit close, we might not be able to go into the details of the other articles. But we still have hope that comprehensive amendments will come, from where we shall be able to then address any other issues that we have in the Constitution. There being no yes, Honorable Vice President.
Thank you, Chair. An observation in the issue raised by Honorable Jonathan, and I believe that this committee, after looking at the bill and then interrogating it in detail, that is also an open recommendation to one of the recommendations we can make in our report. What I would think is that the Honorable Jonathan Odul, as a team, we are at liberty to come up to a conclusion similar or related to that one in terms of our recommendation after scrutinizing here. So I wouldn't wish to cast it out in stone. If by consensus of this committee we make it as a recommendation that we reserve the disposal of this bill and preserve it for the constitutional amendment, then it's open to us as a committee, because that's why we are here. I don't want to create any impression that there is already a premeditated position on any matters that come to this committee. I want to agree in principle that we are here for a discussion and a debate and a deliberation on the issues before us, and we shall make such recommendations as and when we deem fit to be made by this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you.
Brought it out well, and if it pleases you, do you mind seeking the members' views as to whether it should be stayed pending the overhaul of the Constitution as has been proposed? I said the Vice Chair has brought it out very well.
Yes.
And my point is whether, if it pleases you, the issue the Vice Chair has brought, that this bill be stayed pending the consideration of constitutional amendments, so that you seek the members' views on that particular point raised by the Vice Chair.
I would think that if it could do that through after our consideration of the bill, we have met the stakeholders. If that is the view, it will organically come out. Yeah. Honorable Bosco.
I want to, through your chair.
Are you coming with the Honorable Lumu, or are you a member of the committee?
No, but it's okay. Just a member. Chair, I was actually of the view that where you sit may not matter. It is the ideas you put forward which will distinguish you from. He's old school. Chair, I want to thank you for the opportunity, but I was of the view when we make reference to constitutional amendments, which we don't have, because we are not sure. They have not been brought to Parliament. So it would be speculative for us to imagine that there are even constitutional amendments. So I think the other fundamental issue which was raised is that this is the Administration of Parliaments Act. And if you look at Article 82A, it specifically gives the functionality of Parliament, what Parliament can do or it cannot. If the bill, in a very strategic manner, attempts to alter, to touch Article 82, it would raise our eyebrows. But I think we can only have that discussion when he has highlighted and given us the purpose and everything of the bill. Then we can form our decision as a committee. That would be my humble view.
That is for you, Honorable Lumu. That is for you. Because the argument that it would be tenable, because that would be anticipating. And yet for you have a substantive bill which you must consider. So those are all issues to look at. Because those amendments may never come, we don't know. We cannot anticipate. Yeah. If there is nothing more, please proceed.
I'm not misunderstood. T already has a constitutional amendment bill before us, properly before us. And my point was, it has been interpreted even by courts of law that when any article of the Constitution is being amended, the entire Constitution is available for amendment. And that is where I was coming from. That since we are going to look at the constitutional amendment, suppose I come with a proposition that I want to abolish the office of the leader of the opposition. Wouldn't it have been proper, and that was my thing, that we deal with the constitutional amendment so that we are sure that no issue will arise on the issues of the Constitution, on Article 82A, and then thereafter we can come and look at this. So I don't want it for me to be misunderstood. That is the point I was trying to make.
Understood, Honorable Odo. Yeah, no. It will not be vulgar, President, and we leave it at that. He said, as and when we discuss and consider, should the issues come up, they will be recommended as such. So we leave it at that. We should not vulgarize that position. And you're right. So we leave it at that. Let us consider the bill.
Does that mean that now we are going to, because the issues can only discuss in the constitutional amendment? So does this now mean that we are going to give
no, the issue is
first
we consider the bill, then as we consider the bill, the voices come out and it is a recommendation of the committee, which we adopt then.
No, without. I gave one example. There is no provision in your bill saying we should do away with the office of the leader of the opposition. So what I am saying is, if we had started with the constitutional amendment and a proposal comes that the office of the leader of the opposition under 82A should be abolished, then your bill is completely now falls by the way.
Actually, alternatively, even if an amendment comes in the Constitution to authenticate what this bill intends to do and becomes a constitutional provision, then the bill will be rendered redundant.
Thank you. I listened to my colleagues, and I know the subject matter of the constitutional amendment bills. The subject matter of the constitutional amendment bills that is before this committee is in relation to the Equal Opportunities Commission and the Human Rights Commission, the RAPEX bills. Now, I have had the opportunity to read Rule 116 of our Rules of Procedure. And verbatim, Rule 116.1 is to the effect that matters with no proper relation to each other shall not be provided for in the same bill. 2, a bill shall not contain anything foreign to what its long title imports. Now, the Lumu bill, permit me to call it the Lumu bill, has no relationship with the Equal Opportunities Commission and the Human Rights Commission. They are two separate matters. It's not contained in the long title of the RAPEX bills that is before us. So I think we cannot, by operation of the law, transfer the Lumu bill to the RAPEX bills that is before us. And Honorable Chair, your deputy ably made the point that we are under duty every time there's a bill before us to look at the Constitution, to interrogate whether it contravenes any article of the Constitution. May we proceed and give audience to the honorable member, and if we think on the merit that he has no case, we throw it out.
To listen to the move of the...
Has had the opportunity to look at this, and it is their finding in so many cases, one in which I was part of, that once the Constitution, any article of the Constitution, then the entire Constitution is available for amendment. I just want to correct that. Because, yeah. That's not the position of I was a petitioner there. Both at the court. Will not argue, but I just invite your attention.
We have time as a committee to study all that. Legal counsel, you are tasked to bring us those authorities for our digest. Yes.
Points that we clearly entirely agree upon, and one of them is that any matter that relates to the Constitution takes precedent, and that is not anywhere in doubt. We are also in agreement that you can have an amendment by infection, and once that amendment by infection has any bearing on any constitutional provision, then regard must be by way of priority given to the Constitution. My understanding, and I still stick to my position, is that once we interrogate this bill, which I would implore my brother, Honorable Jonathan Odul, to accept that we get a presentation of the bill, interrogate it in detail. Should we find it relevant that it can be accommodated in the constitutional amendments already before this committee, then it will be our sole decision to agree that we take it there than making a decision on it. But we can only reach that by clearly not speculating that one has read and one has not read. By having a presentation of the bill before us, we discuss its clauses, we deeply look at them, make an analysis, make reference to literature and constitutional provisions, and then take a decision. There is no way we are going to make that decision until we have formally been presented with the bill by the move of the bill. That's where I call upon my brother Jonathan to humbly accept that the bill be presented, then we have a discussion.
Listening to. No, I'm making a preamble. But Mr. Chair, background, why I thought that it was important for this bill to be considered and be debated. Like 10 minutes to go through what I have prepared, and a copy will be presented to you. If dental I've written, you can put a paper here. Asking for time, which you have given me. to take you through the background, why I thought it important to actually touch the sections which provide for the election of the leader of opposition and others. Mr. Chairman, the role of the leader of the opposition in Uganda's parliament has long been a cornerstone of the country's multi-party democracy, serving as the official spokesperson for the opposition and a critical check on the ruling government's power. Established following the reinstatement of multi-party politics in 2005. The position has traditionally been filled by a leader of the opposition party with the greatest numerical strength in parliament. While this method has provided a straightforward approach to opposition leadership, it has also sparked debates over inclusivity, representation, and true embodiment of democratic principles within the opposition ranks. Uganda's first shot at multi-party politics. It is from here where I get the argument I want to make, Mr. Chairman. The office of the leader of the opposition in Uganda was established shortly after independence in 1962, with Basil Bataringaya of the Democratic Party becoming the first LOP. However, Bataringaya's tenure was cut short when he controversially crossed the floor to join the Uganda People's Congress. The ruling party at the time, led by the Prime Minister Milton Obote. This defection significantly shifted the political dynamics of Uganda's youngest parliament by then, and Alex Ojera Latim, also from the Democratic Party, succeeded him as leader of opposition. This period was defined by the fierce rivalry between the UPC and DP, the two dominant political parties in the areas of post-independence Uganda. Following Latim, Uganda's political landscape went through immense changes, particularly after the 1971 coup that Idi Amin took over power. Upon Amin's fall in 1979, and the DP led by Paul Semwogere returned as the main opposition force, Semwogere became leader of opposition by then. After the highly contested 1980 election, in which UPC regained the power, his tenure was marked by continuous opposition to the UPC government amidst Uganda's political instability. This two-party dominance between UPC and DP characterized much of Uganda's political narrative during the post-independence era, with the office of the leader of opposition playing a critical role in holding the ruling party in check. The early political history of Uganda, dominated by the Uganda People's Congress and the Democratic Party, influenced the legal framework surrounding the opposition in parliament. The assumption that one major party would govern while the other would serve as the sole opposition was embedded in the structure of the LOP's office. This dynamic, however, no longer reflects Uganda's political reality. With the emergence of several formidable opposition parties such as the Forum for Democratic Change, National Unity Platform, and others, these parties, each representing different constituencies, having reshaped the political landscape, necessitating reforms that reflect the current political multi-party system and ensure more inclusive and representative opposition leadership. Over the years, concerns have emerged that the current system marginalizes smaller opposition parties and independent MPs, potentially hindering a unified and effective opposition front. In response to these concerns, several attempts have been made to reform the process of selecting the leader of opposition to foster greater inclusivity and strengthen democratic practices within Parliament. Notably, one of our own, Honorable Wilfred Nwagava's proposal in 2019. The good thing is, I said the proposals. These are just proposals. Just we can debate that. As page 2, Shadow Attorney General and members of Parliament for Ndora spearheaded reforms to political landscape through the introduction of private members' constitutional amendment bill. This ambitious proposal sought to introduce sweeping changes aimed at enhancing governance, promoting accountability, and reinforcing democratic institutions in the country. Among the myriads of reforms, he proposed a key focus was the structuring of the process for selecting a leader of opposition. Honorable Niwagaba advocated for a system where LOP would be elected.
I know my proposed amendments of head. Vision in the constitutional amendment bill I brought was not there.
Okay.
So I will invite you to expand that part.
Okay, fine.
Honorable Chair, for the correctness of Yanga, Aja is the one who made these proposals, not Winfred.
Okay.
So,
so we can
expand this from.
Okay.
But procedurally,
okay, fine. We can expand that.
And you expand, Chair.
The chair can expand that.
Expand that record.
That part of the record is expunged.
But Chair,
I don't know which
Chair,
one now. That part only.
I have a contrary view.
That part which actually.
No, I have a contrary view.
Honorable Duru has a contrary view.
Yes, that this is received, and whatever he submits must remain on our record, because we are going to interrogate that. Yes, it's a misrepresentation, but it's something that I would be happy to, for example, bring to the attention of the House that while these were his justifications, it is false, they are incorrect,
No,
and so let it remain as it is.
Mr. Chairman, so a case for the election of the leader of opposition by the opposition MPs. The foundation of healthy democracy is rooted in the principle of representation, inclusivity, and accountability. In the context of parliamentary democracy, these principles must be reflected not only in the election of the government, but also in the selection and functionings of the opposition. We are on part 4, on page 4, the last paragraph. Yeah. Have I?
Yes, clarification.
Have I jumped something?
Which part forms?
I think
the part that refers to
Honorable
Winfred as having brought those amendments.
because now the name.
But the colleagues are free to quote the expunged part because we already have it.
Yeah.
But in our record it is expanded.
Chair.
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 If you expand it, means it doesn't exist.
But you can talk about it.
Chair.
No,
What
if
you have
it
had.
is expunged, you cannot.
It is expanded. Yes. So you cannot refer to it.
Chair.
That's why I'm.
From Balianyanga. Actually, it is the only the name.
Honorable Duru, you are not going to be at liberty to make any reference to.
It is only
Chair.
the
The
name.
record is corrected.
But the information is correct.
Chair, you allowed me the floor, but you have not given me chance. Chairs. And you have started maybe coming up with where we say this one should appear known. My concern is, even the report I have is not signed yet. If we move on and someone assume that it was not his, where are we going to base? Maybe you have yours signed, but others no.
Which one? I can sign.
This presentation is so.
These are copies which have just been.
Yes.
Okay,
I
Honorable
believe-
Lumu, proceed. You will sign and give us a copy.
Just following the presentation of my comrade, Honorable Lumu, yes, there is that particular paragraph titled Honorable Wilfred Nwagaba's proposals,
It was the name.
which have been expunged. But immediately after that, you go to Honorable Medat Segona, which you have not made reference to.
Oh, here. I'm coming.
But what you have done, I'm on procedure, Honorable Secretary. But you have gone for a case for election. You have abandoned that whole part
sorry.
of
That
where
was
you had
an
made
oversight.
reference to Segona.
It's okay. So are we proceeding? Mr. Chairman, now what would be expunged according to Honorable Fox? The information here is correct. What is not correct is the name.
But that information is yours, not Fox's. So you have to...
No, because Fox, he has only corrected me on that one.
So you have to own it.
So, I'll go to the other person. Honorable Medat Segona's proposal, also on the same thing.
That?
On page 3.
Honorable Secretary, what are you saying?
Chair, thank you very much. Whereas to his report or position on this bill, apparently that background seems to be raising controversy. And for each and every one of us here, they have their own history of the event in as far as the history of our country and parliament is concerned. In my view, therefore, wouldn't it be better that we do away with that background and we switch straight to the main issue here, so that, yes.
What's your comment? Because you think this is very important for us?
We leave it out.
Or can you summarize it in 5 minutes?
I can. No, he has said to summarize it in 5 minutes.
Yes,
so I won't take more.
You know what is contained in the Honorable Segona's proposal. Make 1 minute statement.
What was
then you go for a case for electoral. Make such that at least
what was
5 minutes for this one, and then you go to the substantive matters.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman. What was in Honorable Segona's proposal was also election of the LOP. But his propositions were defeated on the floor of Parliament. The case of election of the LOP is not in any way a bad one. It is actually promoting democracy and accountability to all of us and the whole country, and also the LOP to have mandate of the members of the opposition. I have heard people saying that no, the whole parliament will vote the LOP, and that was not my proposition at all. It is only members of the opposition who will be involved in electing of the LOP. The way the law is drafted today, the LOP is supposed to be elected, but I don't know whether there is any evidence whether the LOP has ever been elected, except one LOP who was elected. That was Ogenga Latigo. The rest, I'm not very sure whether the law was complied with. It is actually that law that I want to strengthen and bring it to a situation where the election can be done by all members of the opposition. The Parliamentary Administration Amendment Act of 2006. It requires that election be done, but it is not done if you look at the law the way it is. I only know what happened during Ogenga Latigo contesting with the late Member of Parliament for Chadondo, by then, Mzee Njuga. That is the only one I know. The rest, I'm not aware. Why? Because it is done when other members are not involved. So my proposition is, let us involve other members of the opposition in the election. So, Mr. Chairman, that is a brief summary I can give. So I want to go straight to the bill. Starting with the object of the bill. I don't know whether there are copies. Okay.
We don't have.
The object of the bill is, you've read.
I propose, Mr. Chairman, he takes us to the process because that's the most crucial.
Why don't you allow me to go through the way I have prepared?
I want to ask members to be patient with the mover.
Yes.
This being the substantive matter, you now have used the 15 minutes.
I want to
added you 10 plus 20, you had 30. Now you have 15 minutes.
Okay.
To conclude,
so,
but also comprehensively.
I will start with the object of the bill. The rest are not very important because I have already done that. The object of the bill is to amend the Administration of Parliament Act, Cap 272, to provide for the election of the leader of the opposition by members of the opposition in Parliament from among members of the party in opposition to government having the greatest numerical strength in Parliament. To provide additional grounds upon which the leader of opposition may cease to hold office, to require the shadow cabinet to be approved by members of the opposition parties in Parliament, to require the leader of opposition to consult all opposition political parties represented in Parliament when appointing chairpersons, deputy chairpersons of standing committees of Parliament. Clause 1, Section 1 of the Administration of Parliament Act defines the leader of opposition of the party in opposition to government with the greatest numerical strength in Parliament. Clause 1 of the bill seeks to correctly define a leader of the opposition as that member of Parliament who is the leader in Parliament of members of the opposition parties in Parliament. The amendment seeks to ensure that the leader of opposition represents the views and aspirations of all opposition political parties in the Parliament. This will enhance accountability of the leader of opposition to all political parties in the Parliament. Clause 2 of the bill seeks to amend Section 8 of the Principal Act to require the leader of the opposition to be elected by members of all opposition parties in the Parliament. The party in opposition to government having the greatest numerical strength in the Parliament to nominate from among its members in the Parliament at least 3 members from whom the leader of opposition shall be elected, and to empower Parliament to prescribe the procedure for election of leader of opposition under the rules of procedure of Parliament. This proposal will grant all members of the opposition in Parliament opportunity to participate in the determination of the leader of opposition in order to achieve effective representation. B, encourages transparency and entrenches democracy by requiring an actual election to be carried out to fill the position of the leader of the opposition. Clause 3 of the bill. The bill seeks to amend Section 9 of the Principal Act to provide additional grounds upon which the leader of opposition may cease to hold office. The additional grounds are: A, he or she ceases to be a member of the political party in opposition to the government having the greatest numerical strength in Parliament. B, he or she is removed from office of the leader of opposition by the resolution of the members of the opposition parties in Parliament. C, he or she is unable to perform the functions of his or her office due to infirmity or body or mind. D, he or she is incompetent, and C, or she if she misbehaves. The above proposals are intended to make the grounds broader. The provision also mandates Parliament to prescribe the procedure for removing the leader of opposition in the rules of Parliament. Clause 4 of the bill seeks to amend Section 11 of the Principal Act to minimize the involvement of the leader of opposition party leadership in the appointment of the shadow cabinet by removing the requirement of consulting the leadership of the leader of opposition party. This is because the leader of opposition should be superintended over all opposition political parties in Parliament. B, require the shadow cabinet to be approved by a resolution of members of the opposition parties. This will enhance accountability at the shadow cabinet. Require the leader of opposition to, in consultation with opposition political parties represented in Parliament, appoint chairpersons and deputy chairpersons of standing committees which are required to be chaired and deputized by members from the opposition. This will ensure that the views of other political parties are considered while appointing chairpersons and deputy chairpersons of opposition committees. Additional amendments to the Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill. Honorable members, in accordance with Rule 129 of the Rules of Procedure, I beg your indulgence and hereby submit additional proposals to the bill to provide for 2 backbench commissioners elected from amongst members of the opposition parties in Parliament, and clarity that the two shall not belong to the same party. Let me read and then comment. When you read the, I said additional amendments. So justification.
Where is it?
Do you have those ones?
We have them. You don't have them? No, I said additional amendments because I'm in the committee. Which one don't you have? We are reading after 3.4. After 3.4 of this document. No. I'm on the bill. I'm on the bill. I'm on the bill. I'm on the bill. I'm sure. Probably they did not photocopy here.
Chair, I pray you take charge of the meeting because our presenter has several issues to respond to.
Has another bill.
No. They have not printed this because I specifically noted here that additional amendments. Because I'm in the committee can consider.
Do you?
No.
Because we need to read the recent case of, actually, the Toji Patako case.
You see, on the basis of this, you are given a certificate. Just one thing, eh?
Can I have substantive issues? What is the matter?
If members feel that they want me to stop where the bill they have is, I can stop there. But what I wanted was for the...
Who is challenging that position?
What
can someone come up with the matter?
Can I
proceed?
Mr. Chairman, moving the bill is at this particular stage introducing new matters which are not covered under the bill as presented in the Parliament and as delivered to us before us. So is he procedure in order to bring amendments to his own bill which have not been formally moved before the House?
And additionally, Chair, just a natural implication. So when you reach at the committee now and you're giving us additional amendments, it is not in the spirit of the certificate because they looked at this and on the basis of this you are given. So additional amendments would be extrinsic, would be outside for our consideration. Thank you.
Under our rules, 129 sub-rule 4,
yes,
the committee may, if I can read, the committee may propose and accept proposed amendments in the bill as it considers fit, if the amendments, including the new clauses and new schedules, are relevant to the subject matter. But the main point we are raising is that we don't have it even at this stage. There is no print of it that should have circulated to us so that we can. So he's just speaking from his.
So the ruling is that under rule, he can bring those proposals,
but the only problem,
and the committee will look at them. But the problem is that we don't have those copies.
I can avail them. They are with me here, and then copies can be made.
And any other person in the committee, members, can still bring proposals, and we look at them. So just address
so you are now agreeing with Honorable Jonathan's initial proposition.
129.
Zadeke Anna, Sorority District Woman Representative and a member of this committee. On the basis of what Honorable Niwagaba has guided, okay, you've already given your ruling, Honorable Chair, but just to share the experience that he was citing about the 102B amendment, your predecessor, Honorable Guster, yes, in chair and constituency, inspired, I think he was deputy chair at some point. Anyway, he inspired the committee to introduce a very infamous clause, which made us at the end of it look really, really shabby. And you know what the court said about introducing amendments at this point. But also, as a member who has had experience, when you get a certificate of financial implication, and have any addition, because when you apply, you attach the bill. If you have any addition to that bill, you have to get a fresh certificate of financial implication. And now, like this one, those new amendments have a charge, because having 2 additional commissioners has a charge to our voters' parliament. So I invite you, Honorable Chair, to reconsider.
Mr. Chief, so that you know where I'm ending from, you will find that I'm asking this committee to liaise with the commission without further charge to the consolidated fund to allow that. So if they liaise with the commission and they find they cannot do it, then they can abandon it. But the thing is, we cannot just leave it. You listen, then you debate.
I rule that the Honorable Lumu will proceed and will further interrogate the rules. If there has been breached, we will inform you that your amendments were rejected. But for now, proceed and present them to the committee. Let's have the copies and let's have your proposals listened.
Thank you, Mr.
Point of order, Chair. I want to bring the Honorable Crowley to order. You see, being sharpened. That is his right. That is his right. You have no locus to stop
for you
him.
come and clean up. you clean up. Me, I can walk on the table, do everything, then you clean up. Yes, I can even bang the table. And the new regime is you bang the table. Yes, so we can bang them. What is intentional? The rule, I'm protected under this rule. So you get the shabby things, all the grass, and then you collect. Three sections, I want them to be. I can read you one, but now you are going to say you don't have it. But for the benefit, I'm asking the chairman.
Can you
now, Honorable
proceed?
Chair, Honorable Chair and
Proceed
members,
with your submission.
I'm very happy that some members have withdrawn their objections. I would also like to amend the Principal Act to require the Speaker, in consultation with the Business Committee, to determine and allot time for debate to a party in opposition to government. This proposal will give ample time to a political party in opposition to have enough time to debate and thus promotes evidence-based debate in the House. The proposal...
Yes, Chair, as he submits, I would like him to, is it before clause 1 or is continuing to clause 5 or something?
I wanted an addition. It's a new clause and we can insert it. We can even call it 120A.
No, it is us to do that. But you have a bill.
For me,
you have a bill. You are presented up to clause 4. Are you now adding additional clause 5?
We can add clause 5, clause 6, clause everything.
Director.
The drafting people can.
No, it is not. It is not here. I hope you get what I'm saying.
It's okay, it's well understood.
We can call that one section 3.5 if you follow the act, the bill, the way it is. Because I stopped on 3.4, I think.
You are amending which section in the Principal Act?
I'm inserting a new one.
A new one?
Yes.
On which particular section?
I'm adding after... just hold on. Just hold on. You are my senior.
So that would be 15 what? That would be section 15 what? A. But introducing section 15?
No, I'm amending section 15.
Okay.
So, honorable members, thank you very much for that. I urge the Parliamentary Commission to consider this proposal and work within its current budget to accommodate the additional commissioner at no further charge on the consolidated fund. To require the Parliamentary Commission to budget and allocate to the parties in opposition to the government in Parliament in accordance with their numerical strength in the Parliament. Justification. The budget for all opposition parties has been centralized in the office of the leader of opposition. It is important, therefore, there is need for certainty and in the funds allocated to all parties to ensure that the other political parties can control their own budgets and effectively perform their functions. In addition to the proposal under Clause 2B, I further propose that where 2 or more political parties in opposition to government have an equal number of members of parliament in parliament, each of the political parties shall nominate from among their members in parliament 3 members from whom the leader of opposition shall be elected. This one has just happened in the 11th parliament. The UPC had 9 members and the DP had also 9 members. In a situation like that one, supposing it were these 2 people, these 2 parties with the greatest numerical strength, how would we have solved the problem? So this proposal intends to solve that problem once and for all. The proposal in 3, in times where there are numbers, equal numbers brought in parliament by 2 parties. Justification, this is to ensure that there is no stalemate in the election of the leader of opposition. To require, part 4, I don't know, my colleague is not following. To require the chief opposition whip to be elected by members of the opposition parties in the parliament. Justification, this will ensure that chief opposition whip manages all the other whips to enhance oversight over the executive. Honorable Chair and members, I have attached the following detailed amendments to the bill for your examination. Insertion of new clauses. Insert the following new clauses immediately after clause 1 as follows. Section 2 of the Principal Act is amended in subsection 2 by substituting the word 1, the word 2, by inserting a new subsection immediately after subsection 2, the following. The 2 commissioners elected under subsection 2 shall not be members of the same political party, the same opposition party. Can call them political parties. I'm talking about opposition. Amendments of Section 6 of the Principal Act. Section 6 of the Principal Act is amended by inserting immediately after paragraph G the following. GA. To budget and allocate the parties in opposition to the government in Parliament in accordance with their numerical strength in Parliament. The budget, what I want to mean is that according to your numerical strength, your budget should be allocated to you but controlled in the office of the commissioner in charge. In paragraph 2, amendment of clause 2, in paragraph B, insert a new 3 as following. 3, where 2 or more political parties in opposition to government have, and that one I've already explained, I don't want to go back. Insertion of a new clause. Insert the following new clause immediately after clause 4 as follows. Section 15 of the Principal Act is amended. Actually, that is where Honorable Nwagaba was reading. By substituting for section 1 the following. There shall be in the Parliament a chief opposition whip elected by members of the opposition parties in the Parliament. By substituting for section 2 the following. The role of the chief opposition whip is to ensure due attendance, participation in proceedings and voting in Parliament of all members of the parties in opposition to the government. Mr. Chairman, I want to stop there. That is my submission for now. And if there is anything more, Mr. Chairman, because your committee is very active, Mr. Chairman, I was informed of this, so I prepared a few things like this. So I would require, if there is anything more for me to come and submit or clarify, I'll be available. Thank you. The word active.
Yeah, so you are at liberty to write to us if you think that there is anything more you want to say to the committee. And we're also at liberty to invite you Now, you...
And I was the seconder of this bill. Honorable Chair and colleague, I want to take this opportunity to thank the committee. This is my first time, Honorable Chair, to sit with the expert of law, the legal and parliamentary committee, and I've seen great brains, which I know I trust they can do the best job. We are in the kitchen, Honorable Chair, preparing the best meal for our people. These laws are not ours. They are for the country and the future generation. So we are at a big litmus test as the committee to produce the best that will leave a test of time. The bill had the challenges here and there, and I've seen according to the procedural issues raised by colleagues. But I was confident that this committee is going to help us panel beat, and we come up with the best. A few insertions that will be put in, if need be, will be for the good of our country. I came in to support the bill, Honorable Chair, because I thought it was a remedy. So many things that were salient in the Act, we are providing answers for them. And as my colleagues...
Chair, the committee has its duties which are clearly laid out in the rules. I don't want this committee to be quoted to be preparing and panel beating to come to the best. That would be, is my colleague in order to imagine that this committee is taking a position, it's already making this bill to be the best in terms of panel beating.
We can help.
And the legal errors here and there, because the legal part of it. I want to submit, Honorable Chair. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to...
Thank you for keeping it short.
Chair, through you, I want to permit me to allow the members first submit, but after getting this clarification, it was courteous that I make my submission after the other members. Article 82A of the Constitution, which talks about rid of the opposition, which formed the basis of the Parliamentary Administration of Parliament Act, under the multi-organizations or multi-party form of democracy, provides for the lead of opposition in Parliament. Article 82A, sub-article 2, says, Parliament shall by law prescribe the following in respect of the leader of opposition. Then 2A says how he or she is chosen and how he or she ceases to hold that office. The catchphrase I'm talking about, I'm relying on here, is the word chosen. And then when you go to Section 8 of the Administration of Parliament Act, introduces the word election. My literal interpretation of the two words, chosen and election, seem to be in total sharp contrast. I want to pick the mind of my senior colleagues, especially Fox and Wilfred, who entered the role before me. Do they in any way mean the same? We are many.
When you are not here as a colleague, you are here as a witness.
Actually, him being here as the committee, you should not take it for granted that is the other side.
Because my challenge is, once we, if for any reason whatsoever, the two, as I rightly think, do not refer to one and the same, then there is a legal lacuna that must first be addressed before this amendment is entertained. But I seek guidance from my senior colleague. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chair, if you allow me, then I will raise my issues in addition to what he has raised, because I also must see the Speaker since I have a matter of national importance to raise. And I will begin from where Honorable the Vice Chair has stopped, because you must look at the wording in the Constitution and the wording in the bill. The word choose and the word election. Secondly, on clause 1, if you interrogate Article 82A, there are two keywords: multi-party system or organization and leader of opposition. Now your definition tends now to restrict the definition to opposition parties in parliament. Does this definition meet the test of multi-party system or organizations in the Constitution? And when you read Article 82A, you also read Article 83, sub-Article 2, which introduces the question of a coalition government. Assuming there are 5 political parties in an election, and 3 of them opposed to each other in ideology and like, but have formed a coalition, are they opposition political parties? Would this definition of yours not contravene Article 83(2)? That's food for thought. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, if you read clause 2, of this bill, and the entire bill generally, have you interrogated the intention of the legislature, not only in Article 82A, but also the Political Parties and Organizations Act? And if we interrogate them and the rules of procedure of Parliament, if you are talking of election by opposition members of Parliament, are you going to have separate rules of procedure for opposition political parties in the entire body of the rules of procedure of Parliament? Who is going, for example, to preside over a meeting of all the political parties and opposition members of Parliament in a Parliament to elect? Under which law would that meeting be summoned, and by who, and the like? Have you envisaged a situation? Fortunately, I don't belong to any political party, but have you envisaged a situation where you will end up actually killing multipartism under the guise of choosing either a chief whip, choosing a leader of opposition, and the like?
Thank you very much, Chair. Sought the opinion of the senior members of this committee was on the clarification of the question raised by Honorable Deputy Chair pertaining to the word in the Constitution of choice of the leader of opposition and the other one of election, which is contained in the Administration of Parliament Act. Now, I can see Honorable Nwagaba, the senior member of this committee, is responding to the whole position of the bill.
Respond to that matter, but also make his substantive submission.
So can we first have first
the other
things
matter
first?
concluded?
Yes.
On which one? But are you seniors? But proceed.
I must say that I've had a very substantial time in practice, more than 13 years. I said more than. So, interestingly, but the most important point is this, colleagues. The Constitution is categorically clear, puts the duty on Parliament, and says Parliament shall go and prescribe on how the leader of opposition shall be chosen. Now, in our Administration of Parliaments Act, we have categorically going to make it clear that the way we are going to choose is through an election. Chair, my interpretation of the two words is this. election, use of the word election in the Administration of Parliament Act, which was the intention of the framers of that law, was meant, this is an operational word, to implement, to be able to provide the means and the way you can be able to choose the leader of opposition. So the two cannot be in conflict. Because if I say, how is the chair of the committee of legal chosen? You can choose one. It can be by direct appointment. It can be through an election. It's a process. That is my humble interpretation. Thank you.
No, Honorable Chair, interpreting the law with a political lens, and I wanted us to rise above that position and task our technical people, the legal department, to give us a position in writing.
All right. Matter rested. Proceed, Honorable Niwaga.
Thank you, and of course, IDA and election is part of. Okay, so basically those, and maybe lastly from me, when you look at your proposed additional amendments, particularly clause, amendment will be clause 7. We are talking of budgeting issues. I hope we are not vulgarizing it, but if you look at budgeting issues are you looking at the budget of the Commission or the national budget? Now, if you look at the budget of the Commission and you want to legislate on how it budgets for political parties, then what about other shades of opinion in the Parliament, the UPDF, the independents? So you need to interrogate that, and I hope we are not vulgarizing the entire processes. So those are my views and concerns, Mr. Chairman, and I hope I will get a written response later.
Honorable Lumu, I listened attentively to the submissions of Honorable Lumu, and I must say I'm excited because the Honorable Lumu makes the case that for us to underpin democracy, accountability, and transparency, we must introduce the element of election in the process of choosing the leader of opposition and the opposition chief whip. So on principle, I agree with him that in democracies, election is the only legitimate and viable process for picking leaders. Thank you very much for thank you very much for that value addition. Free and fair elections. The issue I have here is this: the Honorable Lumu proposes an electorate, the electoral college, and the electoral college he proposes is very restrictive. Only members of parliament from the opposition parties in parliament. Now that's why I have a problem, and I want his guidance. We elect, in the constitutional offices, we elect the vice president. The electoral college for the election of the vice president is the entire membership of parliament. We sit and elect a vice president. We elect, it's called approval, but it's basically an election. That's another word for that approval process is an election. We approve the prime minister in an elective process. All members of parliament. We don't exclude the opposition. And these are members of the executive. They belong to the ruling party. What would be the good reason for excluding the other members of parliament from electing the leader of opposition and the opposition whip? and the commissioners of parliament, would you be promoting democracy, accountability, transparency when you exclude us in the process of electing the leader of opposition?
No, you just keep taking note of your issues. Any other issues for clarification? Honorable Dur.
Thank you, Chair. Clarification I would like from the Honorable Lumu is that he cited the precedent of an election of LOP between the Honorable Latigo and I believe Sam Juba. Could you clarify to us where this election took place? Was it here in Parliament, and who presided over that election at that time? Because that's where you are coming from, I think, as the best practice. Then I would like you to clarify. Secondly, under Article 82A, where you derive your bill from, I see you have concentrated on the provision under 82A 2A as well, which is how he or she is chosen. If along the way somebody would like to also deal with B, which is his or her status, C, his or her role and functions, and then D, the benefits and privileges. For example, since you are the leader of the opposition, under D, we propose that you don't draw benefits from Parliament, you draw from your political party. Would you be comfortable that the other provisions are also incorporated in this bill? For example, to say the leader of the opposition is not entitled to any benefit from this Parliament. Would you be comfortable if that proposal is made?
This LOP you are talking of, would he be a member of Parliament? You already entitled to some benefits.
If you read if we can read together that, Parliament shall by law prescribe the following in respect of the leader of the opposition. A, how he or she is chosen and how he or she ceases to hold that office, which is, I think, the basis of his bill. But under B, his or her status. C, his or her role and functions. And then D, the benefits and privileges attached to his or her office. So under D, it has nothing to do with the privileges of being an MP. That is already sorted. Person are sworn in. But we know that there are additional privileges attached to this office that some people believe is the genesis of all these struggles for this office. So I'm asking the Honorable Lumu, supposing we do away or we make a provision and say, yes, that's what I'm saying, as an example. Yes, or
Honorable Du, just wanted to, interpretation of the Constitution is very interesting. When we look at Honorable Jonathan, a Constitution cannot provide something in vain. The framers of our Constitution were categorically clear that Parliament shall by law prescribe the following. We go to the benefits and privileges attached to his or her office. There have to be benefits and privileges. You cannot say, if that was not intended to be there, perhaps the framers of the Constitution should have not put. But Parliament is actually, in a very mandatory way, is compelled to provide benefits and privileges.
The political, because we give political parties money, we can still say they should provide those benefits and privileges.
And I can clarify to him, I'm not saying that we with all the benefits. For example, if we say the leader is only entitled to a vehicle and no salary, no other benefit, or we even come here and prescribe, for example, the service award, which was there, it is a privilege. So I am asking him, is he comfortable that when now we are dealing with this law, we can now bring that as well?
When you state putting in something different. Chair, I have something to maybe to be clarified on. As we are legislating here, we base on some grounds, or we relate. On that ground, we may even depend on either common law or what. Now, as we are here, we are setting a precedent. Can Honorable just clarify to me that what we are going for, an amendment, is good for our country after benching it or after noting it applicable somewhere, so that we have a precedent that such a country is applying this and this. So we move while noting that we are basing on that country because their method of operation is far better, and we base on that to follow. Through you, Chair.
Chair, I just want some clarity. If I've gotten my colleague.
Okay, you can.
My colleague is asking, actually, Sech Kuloko has brought a very good issue. He's asking whether, Honorable Lumu, you undertook serious comparative benchmarking with the several other jurisdictions for you to think that this is something good for our country before, so that we proceed, because he wants you to allay his fears.
Honorable Chair, I'm seeking clarification from the mover in the additional amendments. The intention to add clause 4, intending to amend section 11 of the Principal Act. What motivates you to say you want to limit the involvement of the opposite party in the appointment of the shadow cabinet? What's the motivation? What are you trying to cure by this amendment?
Most other democracies, the majority, or rather the run-up opposition candidate automatically walks into parliament as the leader of the opposition in parliament. And that would do away with this issue of having to elect who the leader of the opposition is, and then you have yeah. What is your opinion about that position? Other than having to amend the process through which the leader of opposition is elected in parliament. The other concern I wanted to seek clarification from you is about the procedure for prescribed under the rules. The particular rule, this is in relation to the amendment of section 8 of the Principal Act. In your clause 2, subclause 4. Mine is under which rule do you think this could be achieved? Because yes, subclause 4 of clause 2 of the amendment, and whether this does not have anything to do with again having to amend the rules of procedure to provide for the process of election of the leader of the opposition.
Chair. Thank you, Chair. I just have and opposition, and also the relationship between opposition and the ruling party. In the preamble, the move of the bill, Honorable Lumu alluded to the historical perspective and made reference to Basil Bataringaya crossing from the left to the right, which he seemed, if I got him right, to imply that it was a dent on the democracy at the time. And the current events that we have today speak strongly to the historical perspective of this country, which we must bear in mind when taking decisions, because there are certain dark shadows in our political history that we do not want to repeat. So we are in the process, and in, if I may quote the move of the bill, of presenting a bill that shall further strengthen the democratic processes of this country. And I want to thank you for making that observation. The Honorable Fox Odoi makes a pertinent proposal. And he says, everybody in the third arm of governance, which is the legislature, the Speaker is elected by all members of Parliament, the Deputy Speaker. Even when committee chairpersons are chosen, they are subject to approval by the whole House. The limitation of a very important office, which is actually supposed to give operationalization of the entire Parliament and also strengthen the democratic processes. What guides you to assert that the only way we can strengthen this office is to be chosen or to be elected by only members of the opposition party? And what lacuna would it create if, like all other offices that administer Parliament, political offices, the whole Parliament is involved in the choice of the leader of opposition? Thank you.
I forgot, deliberately left a commencement date for this law. And if this law is enacted, what is the fate of the current holder of office? I hope you have understood. Yes, the current leader of the opposition. So when do you want this law to take effect? Because you have not put it here. And in case it takes effect in this parliament, and if that is your intention,
infirmity, the other being incompetent, and then misbehavior, which raises concern to me in all our laws. Misbehavior meaning what? I thought that there is something that is critically missing, and whether the mover may consider this particular issue, which is a big problem in the country, and that is of corruption. Wouldn't it be wise that if you want to remove the holder of office, we also provide for corruption as one of the grounds for removing the person? Then two, corruption or abuse of office, they go together. Then two, what is the manner, the particular manner after the ground has been established? Is it by a vote, and by what, maybe is it a percentage? Yes, that kind of thing. Thank you.
So, Honorable Mover of the motion, you have responded those you are sure about.
Thank you very much. Members for actively engaging me. And I would, like you've advised, Mr. Chairman, I will give some answers in a written form, definitely. But there are others which I can easily answer. For example, no election by all members of...
What you should do, you say on the matter raised by Honorable Fox.
That's where I'm going.
And then this one, I will bring a response.
Yes.
This one, the answer is here. So that we can be sure that you answered all our questions.
On the matter, Mr. Chairman, which I was now handling, raised by Honorable Fox Odoi, although position has been agreed upon by the party, then a motion is moved there and we all elect. I think that is enough for that, for growing democracy. The other
Chair,
one is...
Chair, can I correct the meeting? What the law provides for commencement of office by the leader of the opposition is a mere statement by the presiding officer in the House. There's no question put.
There's no question?
No.
Okay, sorry. The one, Mr. Chairman, is the framers of the Constitution intended for a particular kind of democracy. Why they drafted the Constitution the way it is there was an intention, there was that spirit in them to create the democracy that was working for the country as it is today. And I don't want to touch that democracy because it is already provided for in the Constitution. The way it is, I'm satisfied. That is why I didn't even touch it when I was moving my amendments. The other one, Mr. Chairman, was the question moved by Honorable Duru. When is commencement? I would prefer that commencement is done in the next parliament, in the 12th parliament. That's what I would prefer, because I have no problem when it starts in the next parliament. All what I want is that as if we have put the law in order, everything is is proper, it can start in the next parliament. I have no problem with it. Chair, you see now, is that an amendment? Because the issue, that is a clause now. Yeah, we can. So that's an additional amendment that you. We can put that one as a new clause. Because it is not what you prefer.
Yes. But draft a clause.
Draft a clause.
We can commencement clause and bring it.
No problem, Mr. Chairman. That is why actually I said some are going to be in a written form. Yes, Mr. Chairman, there is something which I left out. Very important. A lacuna which is actually in the law as it is. Because my land brother, the Vice Chairman, almost alluded to it, but he stopped somewhere. The law says election, the Parliamentary Administration Act. But that act does not specify who is to elect when you are there. And that one is a problem. We don't know whether it is MPs, you don't know whether it is the executive, you can't tell. So that one also is a problem which I can actually provide for.
What you're actually telling us is that
I can provide, Mr. Chairman, like you have allowed me to bring the other one, I can also add on the other one. Where the very critical area, as you go to look at the issue of elections and prescribing who elects and all that, I want you to be very mindful of the cardinal duty, the principal role of the leader of opposition, which is even in our rules. If you look at Rule 14, it is to keep government in check. So if you want the election of leader of opposition to be the way it was proposed by my comrade Fox when he put it to you, then there is nothing. I want us to bear in mind that you have the critical role to keep government in what? In check. So I'm wondering, if I'm the one electing, how are you going to check? Nobody has those are your questions you look at. Yeah. This is just food for thought. Thank you. It was just an advice.
Let me attempt to cheat for him exams. Parliament in check is to provide oversight, and the majority members of Parliament in the current Parliament are from the ruling party. All the committee chairpersons for sectoral committees are from, and we still provide effectively oversight. So there's no harm in having us vote for the leader of opposition.
You are not putting government over. I will provide that one in a written form after doing thorough research on it. And Mr. Chairman, the other one is the budget and how I want the budget to be done by Honorable Nwagaba. That one I'll also respond in a written form. Honorable Nwagaba was worried whether what I'm proposing will not kill the opposition. Mr. Chairman, that what I'm providing actually will strengthen the opposition. And I want a very strong opposition. Even if we are in power, I'm trying to make you people in the NRM, when you are in the opposition, when you are strong there, when you can check us properly. So that is what I'm providing for. Yeah. The other one who presided over, I will give you in a written form. Where my model is working, I can give you countries where it is working, but it is proper if I do further research and I give you that. But I know in Ghana, that's how they do. So I will present to the clerk when I'm done with it. The one which I actually think would be the proper one would be when the first run-up is the leader of opposition. But it requires to amend the constitution because of, I think, Article 78, if it is offered, I think the composition of Parliament and how ex-officials come into Parliament. That would be the best proposition. And the research I have of head is that when Paul Semogerere, the late, was the leader of opposition from 1980 to 1985, there was no tension at all because he was the president of the party, at the same time the leader of opposition. So that harmonious kind of situation is what I want to see in Parliament.
Chair,
so that
can I correct the meeting for the record to be proper? The manner of voting in 1980 was by proportional representation. So the Honorable Dr. So was Dr. Milton Obote. So each had a constituency they came with Parliament. So we had a hybrid presidential system and then proportional representation. So amending the constitution to give us that would require also amending particular provisions of the mode of electing members of Parliament.
Thank you, but the thing, because when you see how we elect, we use the presidential system to elect the president. When you see how we elect MPs and how we sit in Parliament, it might be the parliamentary kind of thing. I have looked at different constitutions in the world, but I have not come across the word movement system. But it once worked in Uganda. So there is nothing which stops us as members of Parliament to create what is good for this country, other than simply copying from wherever. Probably those people might also have copied or they created. So we can also create something new for the good of the country. We don't simply have to pick from anywhere. But my point was here is that for me what I want, or what I would like to see, that the first run-up should have a cap of elections for him to have gotten from the elections, for him to...
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the mover, Honorable Lumu, rightfully pointed out that his bill, he left out deliberately the proposal to bring the second runner-up because there is a constitutional bar to it. So why is he still addressing us on that matter?
Okay,
it is
that one will come later. And Mr. Chairman, the rest I will have to submit a written submission on what Honorable Seku was proposing or was asking, what Honorable Mpuga was also asking, especially on the proportional representation and others, and what my land brother also wanted to know. The rest, even yours, I can give you a written one. So I want to thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Just the last one, because out there, and they've been very suspicious of this proposal, and his presentation here appears to be that he has brought it in very good faith, and that the good faith is that he is not targeting the current leader of the opposition to vacate office. Can you then confirm to us that this bill has been brought in good faith and your intention is that it should take off in the 12th Parliament?
Honorable Duru did not clearly hear me, but I said it. But I want to make a small clarification. In Africa, whenever there is something good, they first of all resist it. and even wear it, dress it with all kinds of things. I can tell you in Buganda, the coffee is called chivoko. The reason why it is called chivoko, people resisted to grow it and were simply whipped to grow it. Right now they are benefiting. They thought that the one who was bringing coffee had bad intentions. Even electricity, everything. So I want to tell my brother that my heart has always been a very clean heart, and it will always continue to be.
But yeah, through
so
you, maybe
there is no problem.
Yeah, through you, sorry to interject. You know, when you are dealing with Jonathan and Luganda,
I tried to interpret for him was a toilet. Why the toilet is called Mugwanya? Mugwanya was the Prime Minister of Buganda. He introduced digging the toilets. People resisted. Because it was too harsh on them, they named the toilet Mugwanya. So don't have in you anything to think that there is bad spirit or bad. I am trying to make things good, to cure actually what has been in Uganda for the last 60 years. Today we must.
Thank you. I'm sure that question you have faced it before. I just wanted the committee to have on record.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, that could probably benefit this process. We are a younger democracy, especially in terms of cementing multi-party democracy. We barely restored it in 2006, and all legislations that restored multi-party democracy were made in a suspicion and potentially not in good faith. I saw many colleagues come into Parliament for the first time that were even scared to shake the hand of the leader of the opposition in Parliament, lest their neighbors see them and report to them the powers that be. I even know senior politicians in this country that believe that the opposition is a bother, and therefore anything that can be done to curtail the opposition should be done. So while considering these legislations that touch the spirit of the opposition, not that I believe we shall be permanently in the opposition, but I'm inviting honorable members here to understand that the bulk of the spirit obtaining in the original legislations was lukewarm. Even when you look at the Administration of Parliament Act, the way the language was couched, it never was done to facilitate the growth of multi-party democracy. And therefore, probably this bill, properly considered without emotions, could give multi-party democracy a new beginning. All I want to ask of the mover is to be very clear on every other aspect he wants to achieve, especially in detailing and making us understand what exactly you want to cure in this entire bill, Honorable Chair. I thought I should bring that obiter into perspective that we can have
received.
Thank you.
Well received.
Because today I notice from the 4 clauses that we have in the bill, we have had other additional clauses, and yet we had scheduled to have a meeting with different stakeholders from tomorrow. And I know what was presented to them are the 4 clauses. So I think that is a procedural matter that you could be able to guide on how we are going to move.
The clerk should quickly process the 4 entities to the entities, including the issue of commencement. So from here, Honorable Lumu, don't go. From here, just go with the clerk to fine-tune your proposals. This afternoon, they should be given to the entities coming here tomorrow, so that they can be able to comment. Is there any